Business is business. Talking that bread, let me go ahead make a sandwich. When it's time to do work, let me extend the hammer.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jones 4K bringing you guys another Forza Horizon 5 video. Today I'm going to show you guys the way I process when I'm buying the car, building the car, and when I'm tuning the car. So you always want to go through first, pick the car you want to do. If you're a beginner, you want to pick something that's really good for beginners, and then so on and so forth. But what I like to do is, since I know a lot of these cars and I've driven a lot of these cars, I just pick whatever. So today we're just gonna find the car to pick, and then we're gonna build it. So I was looking at doing an S chassis, but everybody does an S chassis. And I was thinking about doing a Toyota, but I don't like the GR Supra that much, and if I do use a GR Supra, I'm going to LS swap it, and you guys are going to cry about it, so I'm not going to do it. So I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm very biased when it comes to cars, I'm probably just going to buy the Z06 Corvette. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this, the C5. Yeah, I'm going to go with the C5. So I'm going to build the C5 Corvette, and we got to paint it black. You already know what it is. So I'm gonna go with the C5 Corvette. And then when we build this car, we're gonna say, let's just say we're gonna do a beginner style build. And typically when you do a beginner style or a street style or pro-am style, that could be anywhere from, who knows, 120 horsepower, 600 horsepower. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take this car and we're gonna build it to like a moderate 600. Okay, so we're gonna leave the stock motor. We're not gonna do nothing fancy there. We're not gonna add no boost unless we need to. We'll leave it all motor, and we're gonna put in all the essentials. So when you building your drift car, you want the race brakes. You go ahead and get the drift suspension. You want the roll bars because you want full adjustments for everything on the car. So what we'll do is we won't put the roll cage. We'll just do this like a street build. Yeah, we do this like a street build, modern street build, and we're gonna go ahead and lighten the car up as much as we can. Since it is a drift car, I'm going to use the drift tires. It just makes more sense. Actually, let's go with some sport tires. How about that? We do sport tires. Yeah, we do sport tires. Then you got to make your car look good. So let's find some wheels that look good for a Corvette. They don't need to be super flashy, but you want your car to look good, especially if you're going to be out thrashing on it. I love these wheels. We'll do these. Yeah, we'll do these. Do we want to do 19s all the way around? Nah, we'll just leave it like this, and then we'll put the track width on it. Why not? So we'll leave it like that. We're not going to upgrade the tire size because it already has a beefy tire, and we're going to leave it just how it is. And then we're just going to try to get as close to 600 as possible. Like I said, we don't need a lot of power. 550 is not bad. But we just get it to 6. Let me put this in here. All right, so let's take something out. So let's do this, and then I think we can. There we go. I think 604 is good. So basically that's the essentials of the build. So we're gonna obviously put the clutch for the shift time. And then we're gonna put a 6-speed, we're gonna go with the race transmission. So we can adjust all the individual gears as possible. And then we're gonna go with the drift diff. And I mean, that's basically it for the build. Nothing too, nothing too overpowered. This car has like I said, it has a 295 out back. It's a decent tire. We make 604 horsepower, 527 foot-pounds of torque, and the car is 2,500 pounds. So I mean, it's this to be good. This will work out perfect. It's not overkill at all, and it's not underpowered. All right, but first let me paint these wheels, because I can't do the red wheels. It's a makes my eyeballs hurt. So on Horizon, I normally use two different spots to help set up my third gear going into my fourth gear, and it would be nighttime. Great. All right, so we'll just take this. We'll take this one section at a time. It'd be real easy. So when I come in here and I'm thinking my tire pressure, okay, obviously if you set the car up like this, if you set the car up like this, you're gonna have a lot of rear grip. You're gonna get a lot of rear grip with this tire pressure in the back like this. So and then with this much tire pressure in the front, the car is gonna set up to oversteer. So if you solely going off the tire pressure right now, this car is set up to understeer, because you have a lot of air up front, and it's going to cause the responsiveness of the front tire to be a little more responsive, and the rear tire is going to be grippy. So you're going to get a weird push, but it's going to be a understeery type push. So I like to typically find a sweet spot. Like 30, like the front tire pressure is really good, like around here. I'm using anywhere between 28 and 40. And I've seen guys use 50, 55. I think the max is 55, I believe. Yeah, I've seen guys use 55, and that's not wrong. I mean, honestly, that's not wrong. If it works, it works. So I normally try to find a good ground. So I mean, we get a couple runs in just like this, with the tire pressure just like this, and we'll see how the car acts. So it don't feel terrible. And if we reverse these, the car is gonna promote the car to oversteer more. So I wouldn't be surprised if we spun out here. See, now the car, we're getting a good gear here. Now the car wants to kick around a lot more, but it's actually holding it pretty well. But then again, we don't have a ton of horsepower spinning the 295. But I could tell, right? Like I could tell just driving, like the car just wants to kick the rear end out. Sorry. So we'll set this back down, and I think I want to get a little bit more, take a little bit of grip out of the rear, and then we'll set this back to 32, 33. Like this right here, this felt good. The rear tire spun up real good. Now, the thing is, when you do your suspension, roll bars, and dampening, when you do your springs, roll bars, and dampening, you might have to make minor adjustments to it. And then we're gonna, oh lordy, so we're gonna start here on the gearing. For the gear ratios, I always run the same gear ratios. I run the 373, 377, 355, 410. It really just depends. So like so let's just say if you want your third gear to be your main gear for small to medium tracks ish. So like for this section, I want the third gear to feel real good here. So like now that I bumped it up, remember before the third gear was bogging. Now it's banging off the limiter. So we'll take this and then we'll just decrease third gear a little bit. And then we see how it feels. So let's turn this back up to 355. Now let's adjust third gear itself individually. So it was 182. Let's take it down to 162. See, that's better. We're getting great power. We're getting pretty much full potential out of the third gear. It's just banging off the limiter just a little bit, but we're not losing. Like if you're banging off the limiter and you're losing a ton of speed, then you know it's too much. But we're still able to gain speed with it bouncing off the limiter. And I mean, if you want to like nitpick at it, you could honestly just go down just a little bit more and try it out. So right now, this third gear feels really good. Now this will all change according to the dynamics of my suspension as well. But this here feels great. Let it bang off the limiter just a little bit, not too much. That's great. Car feels great. So then from this point on, when you want to test your pretty much from your main gear on out, you want it to look really good. Like you want it to look, you want your fourth gear and every gear after that to kind of grab on power. So let's just say my third gear is a 157. Let's say we set this at a 137. So this should grab at a decent RPM to where you still carrying speed and you can, you get a little bit more wheel speed. So let's just say we're here in third gear, we're drifting. Bounce the throttle, and then when I grab 4, I should still be able to progress my speed. Now these aren't like very big turns. So third gear works good here, and then we can switch into fourth. And it works. I'm pretty sure the ground, I think it's gonna rain. It looks like the screen's getting wet. Yeah. So now that we got fourth gear set, we can actually like decrease this by like 5. We'll go 2. And then you want your pretty much your 1-2 building up to your money gear. Let's say your money gear. You want your graph to look like it climbs some. So let's just say when you hit the gas, you don't want to completely just blow the tires off the car. I like to run my first gear down into 2s, like 250s, 260s. So we'll set this at 260. And then we'll run this one at, let's have third gear. So let's see how this grabs. Like I like to be able to grab my third gear at a good RPM. So we red line at 75. When I grab third, see my third gear grabs right around. I like to keep my money gear to grab anywhere from 500 to 1,000 RPM from the gear prior. So we have 1, 2, and this grabs right under 7,000. So that's perfect. And then you want all the gears after that to follow in a way to where you can use them all. So normally what I like to do is I like to make it 10 and then take away upward like anywhere from 2 to 5. And then the same thing with the final gear. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the car overall isn't fast, but I would be able, so like right now in the rain, right now where it's rainy, originally my third gear would be good, but it's gonna redline. Fourth gear is gonna redline. If I need to, there we go, fourth gear. If I need to, I should be able to grab 5 and use 5 in the rain because it's wet out. And even though it's not like climbing really high, it works and it does good. I can go from 4 down to 3, back to 4. Up to 5, back down to 4. Come around this bend, drop down to 3. Like you really want usable gears. Now for the most controversial part about tuning, I typically run a very not textbook style alignment setup, but for like beginning, like you want as much front camber as you can get, you know. But also, it's not wrong to run 4.5 for static camber. Like if that fits your driving style, then so be it. If you don't like the way 5 feels, run 4, run 3. If you really don't like 3, run 2.5 or 2. It's your call, but typically -5 degrees of front camber works really, really well, and it does good. Now, when it comes to the rear of the car, the more negative camber you run in the back of the car, the less grip you will have. I typically run anywhere from 0. Okay, let's rephrase that. On my big horsepower cars, let's say my quote unquote pro style cars. On my pro style cars, I typically run upwards to 5 degrees of positive camber, but that's not the case for everybody. So like when you're starting out, anywhere from 0 to, we'll say 1.5, anywhere from 0 to 1.5, depending on how the car feels for you. This car feels okay at 1.5, but I'm gonna take it down to 1, try to squeeze just a little bit of grip solely on the alignment in the rear for this tune. So we're gonna get back out here. I think it's still wet out here. And we're gonna slide it. Car's gonna have a little bit more grip in the rear. It's not gonna be a lot, because like I said, it's wet out here. So it's not gonna be a lot. It's gonna be kind of hard to tell with the road being wet. But I can feel the difference. I can feel the car wanting to sit flatter on the ground. So I'm getting just a little bit more rear grip, solely with the small alignment change. But we're gonna keep the front camber the way it is, because it's really good for beginners, especially people new to tuning and whatnot. Now with the toe, if you're going for like crazy angle and trying to hold like big stupid angle and drift zones and getting the most you can, use as much toe out as you want. It ain't gonna hurt. Use as much as you want. I see people do it all the time. I'm not a big points drifter. I just tune my cars and I do drift zones. I'm not big on a lot of toe. So what I'm gonna do with this car, because I already know how this car feels with a lot of toe, we're gonna run 5. Positive 5 is a very good, like, it's a suitable number for beginning. And what this does is it helps promote turn in. It gives you a little bit more turn in response with the car. So when you out here drifting, like how we e-brake rip the car and stuff like that, you'll get the front end to turn in quicker. It also, like I said, it also helps the car stable out while you in the drift. Now, when it comes to rear toe is very, I'm not gonna say complex. Just know that if you go this way, toe in, the car is gonna be real grippy and hard to drive. The more toe in you go, the harder the car is to drive, and then vice versa. The more toe out you go, the easier the car is to slide. Like, you ever see people do, like, they make YouTube videos and they're building with a lot of toe out and whatnot, and if you listen closely, you will constantly hear the car sliding. Like, the car will always slide. So let's just say we go this route. This car is gonna always slide. It's always sliding, no matter what I do. It just wants to slide. But on low HP cars, this is okay. Not this much. I wouldn't go 5. But when you start adding like that much toe, you'll lose a little bit of grip, and you can make up for it with your suspension and your dampening and springs and whatnot. But this car, all the car wants to do is just slide out. Not really slide out, but it stays in the swing. And like I said, with a low HP car, that's perfectly fine. Like, don't let nobody tell you that running this much toe out is wrong, and then vice versa. Like, if you do it and it feels good to you, let it rock. Now, what we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna leave it at 0, and we're gonna add just a little bit of toe in the rear. We don't need a lot. We're going to add just a little bit of toe in the rear. And with the front caster helps. IRL, the front caster helps with steering, self-steer. Like, once you start taking away front caster, you start losing a lot of self-steer. But the caster also determines how much or how flat your lead wheel would be. Like, if you running if your camber and caster are not in line with each other with the toe, like, sometimes the front tire, like, it'll roll over on itself, and I mean, it's not really what you want. You want that lead tire to be as flat as possible so you can have as much control. Like, let's just say, like, you see these Formula Drift guys or whatever, and they 3-wheel. Like, if they didn't have a proper setup and no control over that lead tire, it'd be a disaster every single time that the opposite chase tire came off the ground. Like, you can't, like, it'll be a disaster. Like, I could see it happening. So I think 7 caster is really good. It gives a good feel on the controller. Like, if you're not used to running lower caster, like, 7 caster is good. Like, if you're new, you can do 7 caster, 6 caster, or anywhere between 6 and 7. But typically 7 is the way to go. 7 keeps it clean. 7 keeps you feel planted on the road. Especially as a new driver, it keeps you feeling planted, and it just helps. Now for the roll bars. Now for the roll bars on the car, I tend to use a formula that I've been using for years, and I'm going to teach you guys today. So basically, the formula is, you want to take the stiffest, and then you want to subtract it from the lowest. So the formula is the stiffest setting you can go minus the lowest setting you can go, or softest setting you can go, and you're going to take that answer, multiply it by the weight distribution of the front, and then that's going to give you your front. And then you do the same thing for the rear of the car. You're going to take the stiffest that it can go minus the lowest, and then it's going to give you an answer, which will be 64, because 65 minus 1 is 64. And then you're going to multiply that by the opposite weight distribution. And then once you get that answer, you're going to add the lowest back to the equation. So if we're going to do this car right now, so let's just say we're going to do this Corvette. Let me see how much the front. All right, let me see how much the front of this car weighs. So this Corvette is 54% front heavy. All right, so if we follow our rule here, we're going to take our stiffest setting, which is 65, minus our lowest, which is 1. That'll give us 64. Sorry, that'll give us 64. And then we're going to multiply that by our front weight distribution, which was 54. So you do that as a decimal, that'll be 0.54 or just 0.54. And then you're going to add back the lowest setting, which is 1. and that's going to give us 35. It's going to give us 35.5. And then, so once I get my front, I generally run my rear roll bar 10 to 20 softer than the front. So let's just say this car is 35.5, so we're gonna run this at 25.5 and see how it feels. The lower that you go here on the rear, so you pretty much want the front, you want your front to be as stable as possible, you know. And then like if you start taking away roll bar, you start getting a little bit more body roll. I really don't like my front to roll a lot. I don't like my front to roll as much as I do my back. So once I set my front, I generally don't move it too much. I might go up just a little bit or down depending on how much the front, how much the front moves when I'm driving. But the back is where I want all my, I want all my extra roll to go. So we got this car set up 35-25, and we have a dry road now. So it'll be a little hard to see the body roll, but I want as much on my rear. I want as much weight to transfer on that rear lead tire, which would be my left tire now, while I'm on throttle. When I hit the throttle and the body twists, I want that weight to sit on that tire. It'll help give me the most push that I can get out of that lead tire. And then the softer you start going in the roll bars, sorry about that. The softer you start going in the roll bars, you start adding more grip. But then it also is another one of those things. You start adding more grip, you gotta find either the power or the tire size to compensate for it or work with it. Like it gets a little bit tough once you start getting that extra body roll. So let's just say we take it all the way down. We'll take it all the way down. Now we have as much body roll on the back as we gonna get. See how I wanted to check the car up? There's a lot of grip, and this power is not quite pushing it around. Now if I had like 1,000-1,500 horsepower, it'd move it around easily. But we're starting to grip up. And then vice versa. If we go the other way, let's say we keep our front stable. If we go the other way, the car's just gonna want to push. That push me, like it started plowing. Like pretty much it just starts to push and plow through the turn. That's not what I want. I don't want the car to plow. So let's say we get a good flick here. The car just wants to, like the rear end of the car is just plowing at this point. Like I don't want my rear to plow. I want my rear to, I want it to move with the rest of the car. Yeah, see, that don't feel too good. So we find a happy medium with the roll bars. We take it down some. We take it down. Like I said, we're gonna do 25.5, and we could probably get away with 25, honestly. So let's go 25, and then hit a lap real fast. See how it feels. See that? So now, you see how quickly that car transitioned right there? So now I have a good roll on that tire right there. Because as soon as I start wanting to get to the other side, it wants to roll immediately to the other side. So it's not too stiff in the back, and it's not too soft in the back. All right, now for the springs, the way I tune the springs is a little bit different than most people. I follow a spring chart that I've been using for years, and I normally I find a spring that I like, and I really don't change it too much. If I change it, I go up a little bit, or I go down a little bit. So this car was 2,500 pounds. So let's just say, so right now it's 678, and that's pretty close to a 12 kg, we call it spring. So we can leave this at 678 if we want to, if we like the way it feels. But if we take it down to an actual 12 kg, it'd be a 672. But I want to get a little bit more grip out of this car because it's not like super grippy and it's not like super slidey. So we're gonna go from a 12 kg spring and then we're gonna take it down to an 11 kg spring, which will be 616, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 616. And then this in the rear here is a 590, and that's pretty close. That's pretty close to a 10 kg, which is 560. So what we do is we'll set this to 560. So right now in this car we have a 11 kg spring in the front and a 10 kg spring in the back. I like to go 10.6, 11.8, but we'll try this right now and see how this feels. Cause sometimes you know some cars like to be set up real grippy. Some cars vice versa. So we see how this Corvette feels. So now in the front, I can feel the extra grip in the front, but I mean the car just feels well. Like it feels good. And we'll hit one more loop before we make an adjustment. So that's not bad. It's not bad at all. So we can go. So I like the way the 11 kg feels, and I like the way the rear feels. So we have 11 kg in the front, we have a 10 kg spring in the back, which is 616 and 560. I think I'm going to go down to a 9. I'm going to go down to a 9 in the rear. Actually, let's go down to a 8.5, and that's 476. So with the springs, you really just adjust into the car is either too grippy or not grippy enough. So if you get like right now, so I went down and the car still feels the same with a little bit more grip in the rear. Like now it's really want to give me a little bit more push out of the back of the car, and that's how I like it. I'm getting a little bit more push, and as you guys can see, we're getting really good angle here. So I like the way that feels, and I think we're gonna leave it there. Now with the springs, if you want more grip in the rear. If you want more grip in the rear, obviously you soften the springs. You know, you can soften it however many increments you want. Like normally, I just follow my chart. I normally use my chart, but if I'm just doing it on the fly, I always go 25, 50. I always go 50. Then when it starts feeling closer, 25, and then like 10. You know, and then on the front, let's just say the front's too grippy. If you want to change that, you just stiffen the front a little bit, take a little bit of grip out of the front. Or you can come here and take a little bit of toe out of the front. You know, find ways to get some of that extra, like I guess responsiveness. You want more responsiveness out of it, because if it's too grippy, man, you'll know. Like you would definitely know. But like, and then like, let's just say overall, the car overall feels good, and you just want it the car overall to feel the same. Adjust these evenly. So let's just say you got your spring set up, boom, you got a 616 in the front, a 476 in the back, but the car overall, you want just a little bit more grip. Take them down evenly. So if you want, if you take the front down 15-20, take the back down 15-20. That way you keep a good balance between the grip that you like. So you like the way this car feels front and rear with the springs, take them down together. Other than that, you're gonna start with typically the back is normally where all the problem is. Like once you get the back set, the front is easy to fix. The front comes down to overall feel once you get that set. And then moving on to the ride height. The ride height, I typically like to even my cars up as much as I can, and then adjust it if I need to. If I got a car that bottoms out, I'll pick it up in the back, I'll pick it up in the front just to make it not bottom out. But generally, you lower the car, you get better center of gravity. You just want to make sure your car is not slamming off the ground. Now moving on to damping. For the dampening, I've been using the same thing. I've been using the same formula with my dampening. I do the same formula I did with my roll bars, and then I make an adjustment. So with the dampening, we do if we do the same formula, you're gonna take your highest. So we'll start with the front. You'll take your highest number, which is 20, minus your lowest number, which is 1, and then you multiply that by the front displacement. And if you guys remember, that was 54. That gives us 1946. That don't sound right. Hold on. That gives us 10.2, but we have to add back the lowest. That'll give us 11.2. So on the front of this car, we're gonna have 11.2. Now for the rear rebound stiffness, I like to go anywhere from 15 to 20%. And honestly, me personally, I don't change too much from there. So if we go, let's just say for this, so this car was it don't really oversteer too much. So we'll go 15% on this car. So we'll take that 11.2, and then we're going to multiply that by 15%, which is 0.15, and then that gives us 1.689. So we're going to subtract that from our 11.2, and that gives us 9.5 for the back of the car. And this is normally how I set it. Like 15% don't feel good, I go to 20, and then like I really try to meet in the middle somewhere. It feels like until it feels great. When you're doing your rebound helps with it just helps. Like the more front rebound you add, the more grip you get in the rear, and vice versa. You want your rebound, ouch, sorry about that. You want your rebound to like it helps with your transitional oversteer and whatnot. Like, if you go more in the rear, when you transitioning, the rear is going to snap around, and then vice versa. When you go a whole lot in the front compared to the rear, when you snap it around, it's going to understeer a lot. If you have the front higher, which is what we do, like typically that's the goal. You want the front just a little bit stiffer in the front than you do the rear. Now, when it comes to the bumper of the car, one of the easiest and golden rules is just half it. Like if you want to be easy and keep it simple, half it. So you would have 11.2 divided by 2, that'll give you 5.6. That's one of the honestly one of the easiest ways to do it. And then in the rear rebound, we got 9.5 divided by 2, that gives us 4.7. And I mean, you can literally be done with that. Set it and leave it. Now, me personally, I like to use the 33% rule. I like to use 33% rule. So like when you see most of my cars, they're like 3.5, 3.4, 3.6. Like I like the 33% rule. It's soft enough, and it allows your springs to travel a little bit more. It allows a bit more movement in your springs. So when you're doing jumps and bumps and stuff, like you can soak them up, and you got the rebound stiffness to get you back on the ground. So once you go over a bump, the bump will kick it up, and the rebound springs is typically stiff enough to set it back down. So you're not throw it all over the place. So if we're gonna go with the 33%, 11.2 times 0.33 is 3.6, and then 9.5 times 0.33 is 3.1. And these are good settings as well. So if you want to use the 33% rule, you can. They call it a third, or you can use the 1/3 rule, which is 33%. You can use the 1/3 rule. You can use 50%. If you want to be like general and keep it safe, 50% is the way to go. Now, if you see yourself hitting bumps or small jumps and whatnot, and your car bounces, then something's too stiff. You're not soaking up the jump or the bump. So we'll take this out, and we're actually going to switch tracks here. Well, switch sections, because there's a section here that I like to hit when I want to test my bump. And I like a little bit more free moving on my, you know, on the rear of my car when I get on throttle. So I'll show you guys. But here's the jump that I hit right here. Like, and I like to make sure my cars can soak that bump up. As you guys can see, the back of the car was flexing a little bit. Car, see that? Car has really good transition. We'll hold the e-brake, give it some gas, boom, there we go. And it soaked the bump up. And I've had some cars that I've set up, they hit that bump, man, and they spring out wildly. So we hit a couple more drifts here, and you guys can see the car sits stable. The front of the car is stable. Front of the car is stable. Car gets great angle. Car has really decent transition speed. Then we come through here, soak up the bump, keep going. And that's what you want. I mean, that's what you want. You want your car to do that. That's how you want. That's how you want to eat those bumps up. You don't want to be sitting on bumps and then your car spazzes out. Like, if you can't hit a curve or a curb, sorry, if you can't hit a curb, then something ain't right. You want to set it up to where you can hit curbs and then boom, you're good, you're golden. We have another spot here that I like to hit. This one back here has a curb, and if you ride the curb, it'll spin you out. And then if your bump and springs is right, you'll be good. Throw it back here, and this curb is brutal. We just ate that curb like that with no problem. And we ate that curb just like that. And that, I mean, that's how you want it. That's how you want your car to feel. You want your car to feel real good going over curbs. You don't want to hit a curb and then your car immediately just bounce out and spins you out. Like, if you can't sit on the curb a little bit, then there's an issue. You should be able to hit a curb with the front of your car or the rear of your car, and it just eats it up. That I about ate that, didn't I? And then last we have the, I don't have an arrow on the car. Now the braking is very controversial. Some people say put it all the way this way. Me personally, I like to lock up my front, but I don't ever lock up my front. But I like to lock up. They said that it's reverse, but like, I don't know, because when I hit the brakes, like, it locks the front up, and I mean that's what I want when I drift. But like, when I'm tandem behind somebody and I hit the brake, I want to be able to hold the brake. I want to be able to press the brake down and not be yanked out of my drift or stopped. Like, if I put it all the way if I have it locked up in the rear and I got it set to high brake pressure, see, that's how I like it. Like, the front, it's not grabbing. Cause I already have an e-brake. I don't need two e-brakes. Good transition with the elevation change. And I think we can, on the gearing, I think I can give it just a little bit more here. I think I can give it a lot more here. So we'll go 47, 43, and then you want these to be close, so you can use them all. Guys, quick insert. So your boy was rendering the video and completely forgot to go over the differential settings. So for the differential is pretty simple. If you want to set up like a lock diff, you just set it to 100 decel, 100 acceleration. That's more of a lock diff. If you want to go for more of a LSD style, LSD, right? Yeah, LSD style. You can go anywhere on acceleration from like 75 to 100. That'll kind of keep you in that good range. And then on the decel, you can go anywhere from 0, I say 5%. I say 5% to like 30, 40. And that'll give you a really good LSD style. Like, you know, when you're trying to when you're drifting and you like I'm not gonna do a full run here. I'm just gonna do a couple turns, see how it feels. And honestly, guys, I honestly really think that's pretty much it. Like it don't take much. Like I've gotten really good about it. Really good about tuning my cars. I try to approach it from a IRL perspective as much as I can, but you know that could be very it could be debated, and I try not to debate too much. This car has really good transitional speeds. It transitions just right. I mean, we're in 5th gear. We can go down to 4. We can go down to 3 if we need to. I just love the Corvettes, man. Look at that. That was a nice drift right there. Nice angle. And it holds it. It's not forced. This will be a very good practice car for anybody. Like if you're trying to get into drifting or trying to get into tandems. Unfortunately, I don't have any friends on right now in the tandem with. But I mean, all right, car. Jeez. Like it's really good, man. And like I said, the build is very simple. The tune, it can be so controversial, but it really don't need to be. Like at the end of the day, it's your tune, it's your car, it's your build. It just, you know, if you want to, we'll call it role play. If you want to role play as much as you can to make it as real as you want to, go for it. It's your game, it's your money. Play it the way you want to play. That's how I do it. I build my cars as close to real life as I know, and as research allows me to know and grow as I'm playing the game. I've never been a Horizon player, really. This is my first time playing like a Horizon series. I've always been a motorsports guy, but I'm learning there's different things. Like there's people that build their cars with rally tires. There's people that build their cars with snow tires and drag compound. If that's how they want to play the game, allow them to play the game. Doesn't mean that it's wrong, doesn't mean that it's right. And another thing, there's no such thing as the best drift build for any car. There's not. That would entitle that every last one of us drives the same, every last one of us plays the same, and we all just don't. We just don't. Now, is there some tunes that's better than others? Of course there is. But to say it's the best one out there, or it's the best tune that you could use, that's a far stretch. And I think that we as a community, you know, needs to not be so closed-minded to the tuning abilities of other gamers, other drivers, other tuners. That's like painters bashing on painters. Like, why would you do such a thing? You know, everybody starts somewhere. But going back to the car, man, if you guys enjoyed the video, like the video. If you got any suggestions, tell me I'm a jackwad, everything I said was wrong, let me know down below. Sure, let me know. I can only do better. I mean, this is the way I tune cars. This is the way I build cars. That's it. That's just really it. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're smart, hit that bell so you know when I post or when I go live. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.